specifically to the issue in Lagos, where one popular transporter from the NURTW, chairman for the Lagos chapter, MC Oluomo, was speaking to Mama Chukwudi to not...
like the proverbial Mama Chukwudi,
yes,
that's what he called it.
Who says is his friend, and not to come out if they are not, if she or they are not going to vote for his party, the APC. And you know, this happened on one hand, but I think what the real problem was the response. Now, let's just assume that the Nigerian police have done, have taken people into questioning for much less than that. Let's assume the Nigerian police called him to questioning, some action. But you know what we heard? What we heard was, we should take it as a joke. And I don't know. I
heard that also, and I felt like that's a joke taken away too far.
I think the only thing I can take as a joke is the statement that we should take it as a joke, because what are you saying? And we have those same words, those very same words being used today while voters are being suppressed. You be on Maibo, if you know I vote for us, go house, this kind of things. All this, the similar rhetoric that was used has been used right now, and people are unable to vote because of that. And I can't find any Nigerian laughing right now. And I think that sometimes the police need to perhaps put the necessary vim for the necessary issues. It's weird when we hear that, oh, you know, if you have drugs and you are tall or you drive big cars, and people focus a lot on that, and then you see someone who seems to have more power than. No, I wouldn't want to, you know, use any, you know, direct government official. But if the police seem to shiver and say, you know what, he was just joking.
Actually, he just made another video to say that the Mama Chukwudi was around.
So, like, so these are one of the reasons why I won't completely tell Nigerians, oh, you people should have come out more. And when someone makes that threat and the police say it's a joke, and then we also see places where the police are just, from the reports we are getting, the soldiers seem to be the ones who are even stomping out these thugs and
when the soldiers should not even be seen around at this moment.
That's the issue. So, in any case, there's still a lot of reports that we have for you to bring you up to speed on what's going on. I don't know if you want to kickstart. It's there. Okay, let's take this one. We have reports actually from one of our correspondents, Jumoke Adebari. She says political thugs have disrupted the electoral process in Ward 13, polling units 22, Itori Odo, Abeokuta South area of the state. Journalists and electoral officers who were subject to, who were victims of the attackers had to scamper for safety. An armless NSCDC officer attempted rescuing the 2 ballot boxes but was overpowered by thugs who snatched the boxes and destroyed it immediately. What's interesting here is when asked, we'll get to talk to Jumoke later, but she indicates that they had to flee for their lives and for the equipment. And I think this is a first-hand experience there of what's going on. You can see in the pictures there, there were some arrests. Like I said before, the soldiers are the ones who have taken up more of the duty. I really don't understand.
Does it not mean that the soldiers are more affected? And because remember, I keep saying, like, during the NSARS, you had the protesters come out to make demands for the reformation of the police.
Yes. So
now with all of that demands that they made, it's like I hear someone, I'm trying to rephrase what the person said, like, boss, we are rooting out for you, and you guys are attacking us.
Yes.
So now this is another thing that with this election, you have soldiers coming out to defend when you should have the police that they should be the one saying, okay, because these people, they actually fought for us, so now we should be the one doing the fighting. But then you see them just take the back seat, and then they tell you that someone makes a statement and that it was just a joke, and then you have the soldiers who are supposed to be behind the scene. They're the ones that are outside. It really begs the question.
It's really. And at the end of the day, people wonder, the people involved in these things are people that it can be easily stamped out. So you start to think, how much power, unseen power, or what some people call behind closed doors power, does someone like MC Oluomo have? Like, what is so special about him? And to add to the fact that he is officially a Lagos State worker, he's a staff of the government, and he's making such and we hardly hear anything. To add to this issue, we had I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, I think it's called the Oral Festival, which was scheduled of all days on an election day. They've made statements that, okay, no, it's not really about that, it's in the evening, it won't disrupt activities. And we know, if we were, I don't, other than the voter appeal that happened, but we know very well in the February 25 elections, a lot of elections, extended into the night,
yes,
because of some irregularities here and there and so on and so forth. So we saw all these things, and then you say, oh, it's at night. So what happens when people are waiting for their votes to count, and then the festival is about to start?
Especially for female, but you're not supposed to be seen outside.
Non-indigenous or whatever that means. So I don't. Well, anyway, we still have a lot, but let's see if we can get this video now. It's from the Ogun State Commissioner of Police, from Umba, reacting to security operation reports across the state. We just spoke about thugs disrupting some places in Ogun State right there. So we'll get to hear a comment from him very shortly, to get an update on what's going on in Ogun State. But before then, there's still other issues, that in contention. As we're speaking about voter apathy, do you think perhaps the performance of the February 25 elections have a part to play here?
Well, I agree that it definitely has a part to play, because Nigerians are still waiting and looking forward to getting information or feedback from the electoral umpire. Nigerians are still asking questions. What exactly happened during the 25th of February elections? They're still asking questions, and then so many questions begging for answers. But the electoral umpire, I remember I actually reached out to Festus Okoye, asking him that we have loads of things to talk about, and he said, yes, I know that you have loads of things to talk about, but for now we have to finish these elections. So like, I am waiting for, like, boss, I am waiting for you. You have a lot of questions to answer, because you told us X, Y, Z, and then you did another thing. So that has dampened the morale of a lot of Nigerians. But like we say, we cannot keep telling Nigerians, okay, it has happened, what has happened. We can't keep flogging the dead horse. So that should not be an excuse why you should not go out to cast your vote. This time they said that they would, at least there have been some court ruling saying that they must actually transmit results electronically. So let's see how that goes. There's still time. 2:30, make sure that you are already on the line, in the line, to make sure that you cast your vote, and we are definitely keeping tabs on this one.
All right. Before we see more on what some minor officials are doing, let's take that soundbite there from Frank Umba on the issue of Ogun State. Let's take a look at it now. We'll be right back.
As long if you are standing, just one civilian that doesn't have gun, that doesn't have anything, and people are shouting like this, if you are the person who disappear.
What's happening here? Voting is going on. I mean, everything you see here is characteristic of Nigerian style of democracy. You've been with us the whole day. You've seen us patrol the city. You've seen us patrol even the countryside, the villages. And you've seen that largely it's been a very peaceful election. But of course, what you saw here is just one of those few areas where people disagree, and I mean, disagreement is a core characteristics of one of the core characteristics of politicking, electioneering, and voting. But you could also say that they were quite peaceful, even in expressing whatever are their misgivings. And that's why we're here. Intervene when there's such tension, and then solve the problems, and then move on. What I was told, I heard it the same way you heard it. We'll probe that. And if indeed there were, we will go after those that are indicted. But the good thing again is that even though we heard that nobody was injured, there was no casualty of any kind, there was no injury of any kind. And I think again that speaks volume of the kind of security arrangement we have here. If we were not on ground, if the arrangement wasn't tight, strong, and effectively deterring enough, probably you would have come here and they would have told you 10 persons killed, 17 injured, but we don't have anything of this.
So kindly confirm, sir, were there ballot box snatching here or not?
I am just there. We're just coming out from there, and they told me clearly that no ballot box was snatched, and that was quite reassuring. And that's why I told them that we're leaving policemen on ground, and they should be calm. If ballot boxes were snatched here, the tension would have been higher than this. They wouldn't have listened to us. And if you were there when I spoke to them, I asked them pointedly, probably you would have come here and they would have told you 10 persons killed, 17 injured, but we don't have anything of this.
So kindly confirm, sir, were there ballot box snatching here or not?
I am just there. We're just coming out from there, and they told me clearly that no ballot box was snatched, and that was quite reassuring. And that's why I told them that we're leaving policemen on ground, and they should be calm. If ballot boxes were snatched here, the tension would have been higher than this. They wouldn't have listened to us. And if you were there when I spoke to them, I asked them pointedly whether any ballot box was taken, and they told me none was taken.
All right, welcome back. Now you've heard from Frank and Ba, and so let's take some other reports coming from our correspondent there in Nasarawa State as we move straight to Nasarawa from here. It says voter inducement witness at Sabongida Ward, polling units 007 in Nasarawa State. Let's take that video, and then we'll see what exactly is going on in Sabongida Ward. Now, seeing that video, it is absolutely wrong, all shades and color and manner of wrong, to see that a polling agent is helping an electorate to thumbprint, really, like to cast their vote. Like how exactly do you make that thing? It's supposed to be a secret ballot. Even the agent is not supposed to know what you're doing. But that's the kind of things that we see. I've talked to some political party agents, and then they tell you that you have some, because their own party agents were not there, other party agents come in, and then they just want to tell the electorate, okay, let me help you do it, and then they start putting it in their own party. What exactly? That's the lacuna that happens when there are no voter education. Now, everything does not, all the blame should not stop at INEC's table. It also should go to the political parties, because you're supposed to have voter education, mobilize and educate your voters on how they should thumbprint, the best way to thumbprint. We've actually sent out videos, pictures on showing the invalid votes and then the valid votes. So you should be able to bring your supporters together and then teach them how to thumbprint and how to do these things. What you should know when it is an valid vote and when it to be regarded as an invalid vote. Instead of leaving your electorate to things like this, and then at the end of the day, you come out to tell us that I had 1 million electorates. So what now happened? Really?
Indeed. Yeah, and I think even at the polling units there, we've seen that while election is going on, the electorates themselves, you see them moving around and saying, use this finger, not this one will spread. And that's just electorates amongst themselves, trying to educate themselves. But you start to wonder, what is the excuse or that whatever this polling unit agent is using to say he's trying to explain, it still doesn't hold weight. And again, it brings to mind one of the issues that people have been raising about persons who have issues with the February 25 elections. It happened that at the National Collation Center, Dino Milari and some others had issues, stage the workouts and all that. And the question that keeps being asked is, there were stages leading up to the National Collation Center. Where were those issues being raised all the way from polling units to ward to level and so on? Now, at this issue, I believe that is actually the APC polling unit agent. Ideally, the other polling unit agents should be there watching him. And when they see him, I take for instance, I witnessed something at one of the elections polling units on the February 25th elections. There was a line, a very long line of Nigerians trying to vote. And it seemed as though someone had gone to the front and started having a little conversation with someone in front, one of the other voters. And I could see one of those behind. They were watching the person keenly. They were saying, "We'll see. Let's see what's going to happen." And casually, the conversation, they laughed. They said, "Oh, okay, this Nigeria, that." And in the middle of a laughing bout, he slipped into the line. And immediately, everyone came out and said, "If this man votes before me, then this place will scatter. If this man votes here, we will not allow it." And together, they all stopped that. So the same point also counts when, if you are a Labour Party agent, PDP agent, or whatever, even an APC agent, and you see another agent doing things that might jeopardize the sanctity of the election, when you raise the alarm, others will definitely join you. So you don't just stay somewhere and keep quiet and then expect things to change. And also another thing, which is something I heard while speaking to some experts, is that there needs to be more awareness in terms of administrative legislation, so they call it. Within systems, there are things that should be done, that people should know, which is why I take it back to the political parties. Now, as a polling unit agent or as a ward or whatever, you're supposed to file formal complaints to INEC. INEC, this is that happened. And INEC has to respond formally on the record. These are some of the things you compile and you take to wherever. But when you just say this is wrong, Nigeria is bad, and then you walk away, you've not really done anything. You just complained a little and you walked away. People should learn to follow the process, because when it was an issue of how the judiciary somehow always finds its way into election. Everybody's out there now trying to vote and whatnot. And somewhere, the judiciary is a great branch of the government, but somewhere judges know that at the end of the day, these things are coming to
Yes,
us. So we just have to come.
Like someone said that if your friend is a lawyer, you hold them right now because they're the ones that are cashing at the moment.
Quite a number of patronage right now. So to reduce these instances, make it easy, file formal complaints, raise concerns, and so on and so forth. But anyway, we'll talk more about this and more updates. But we'll get guests in the studio now to do some analysis while I bring you more updates as to the governorship elections and state assembly elections across the nation at the moment. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Here are some more updates. When we return, we'll bring you more.
As you can see, there is a little bit of confusion at the Sabongida Kukuna 007 polling unit here. We can see party agents beside the ballot boxes assisting the electorate, taking ballot papers from them. More so, we can see party agents beside the thumb printing box, telling the electorate where to thumbprint and cast their votes. And also at this Sabongida Kukuna ward, we can see a very high turnout of voters, most especially women. And the total number of registered voters at this polling unit is 1,897. Okay, we are still here at Sabongida Primary School, Ward 007, Kokona in Nasarawa State, and we are going to be talking to one of the electorates. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Please, can you tell us your overview of the proceedings so far?
Okay, they are seeing the votes. They are still trashing for the votes, where people are asking for the governorship and the House of Reps. So all they came to the election, we always assist to people to direct the people, unless the people should choose the ones who want to choose their best. It's not one to direct the someone to choose their own best. That is your.
Okay, but finally now, has there been any provisions for people with special needs, people who cannot stand for long? Has there been any provision? Because I understand the federal government has made provisions for people with special needs to be given some kind of special attention to avoid any form of confusion. How has that been so far?
It can be long. Where some people that have been suffering cannot be sit, cannot stand be alone, cannot stand. We always find place and sit. We always people that say that you are crying, let the government to hear their cry, to wipe their tears. That's what make people to understand. People cannot walk to move to one place to another. We always to stand one place. And they are trusting God. God should show that the leader who can direct the governorship also.
Okay, we are still here at Sabongida Primary School, Ward 007, Kokona in Nasarawa State, and we are going to be talking to one of the electorates. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Please, can you tell us your overview of the proceedings so far?
Okay, they are seeing the votes. They are still trashing for the votes, where people are asking for the governorship and the House of Reps. So all they came to the election, we always assist to people to direct the people, unless the people should choose the ones who want to choose their best. It's not one to direct the someone to choose their own best. That is your.
Okay, but finally now, has there been any for people with special needs, people who cannot stand for long? Has there been any provision? Because I understand the federal government has made provisions for people with special needs to be given some kind of special attention to avoid any form of confusion. How has that been so far?
It can be long. Where some people that have been suffering cannot be sit, cannot stand be alone, cannot stand. We always find place and sit. But always people that say that you are crying, need the government to hear their cry to wipe their tears. That's why make people to understand. People cannot walk to move to one place to another, always to stand one place. And they are trusting God. God should show that the leader who can direct the governorship also.
As long if you are INEC, just one civilian that doesn't have gun, that doesn't have anything, and people are shouting like this, if you are the person who to disappear.
What's happening here? Voting is going on. I mean, everything you see here is characteristic of Nigerian style of democracy. You've been with us the whole day. You've seen us patrol the city. You've seen us patrol even the countryside, the villages. And you've seen that largely it's been a very peaceful election. But of course, what you saw here is just one of those few areas where people disagree. And I mean, disagreement is a core characteristics of one of the core characteristics of politicking, electioneering, and voting. But you could also say that they were quite peaceful, even in expressing whatever are their misgivings. And that's why we're here. Intervene when there's such tension, and then solve the problems, and then move on. What I was told, I heard it the same way you heard it. We'll probe that, and if indeed there were, we will go after those that are indicted. But the good thing again is that even though we heard that nobody was injured, there was no casualty of any kind, there was no injury of any kind. And I think again that speaks volume of the kind of security arrangement we have here. If we were not on ground, if the arrangement wasn't tight, strong, and effectively deterring enough, probably you would have come here and they would have told you 10 persons killed, 17 injured, but we don't have anything on this.
So kindly confirm, sir, were there ballot box snatching here or not?
I am just there. We're just coming out from there, and they told me clearly that no ballot box was snatched, and that was quite reassuring. And that's why I told them that we're leaving policemen on ground, and they should be calm. If ballot boxes were snatched here, the tension would have been higher than this. They wouldn't have listened to us. And if you were there when I spoke to them, I asked them pointedly whether any ballot box was taken, and they told me none was taken.
As long if you are INEC, just one civilian that doesn't have gun, that doesn't have anything, and people are shouting like this, if you are the person who to disappear.
Good morning. We are media.
These are the party agents. See, we are trying to address this issue. Every party which party will pick one agent?
Good morning. We are media.
These are the party agents. See, we are trying to address this issue. Every party which party will pick one agent?
Welcome back. This is still the live telecast on the governorship and state assembly elections holding currently at the moment. In some places, collation of results at the polling units have already begun, and so much more updates to come. But we've been joined now in the studio by a policy analyst and public affairs analyst, Mr. Daniel Obaje, to do some justice to some of the reports we are getting across the nation. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure.
All right.
It's good to have you here, too.
Thank you,
Welcome. All right. We'd like to see that our phone lines are also open so you can join the conversation. That being said, let's start now with some reports from Lagos, to be specific, of INEC officials stating categorically that there will be no transmission of results from the polling units, saying that they have networks and at the what's it called, the center where they all converged at the ward level, and from there they will transmit the results. Let's take a look at a soundbite of one of those, and when we return we'll have some analysis on the matter.
That means no need to say the vote.
We are not uploading. If you want us to vote, we will vote you now. But if you don't want us to vote you, no problem. We are not uploading. We are not uploading. We are not uploading. We are not uploading. Your political agents, they are all aware of it. We are not uploading. We are not uploading. We are not uploading. We are not to upload. We are not uploading.
Mona can give you now one give. I no vote.
Uploading.
One can they suffer myself here. Now, the second, I'm a minimum. That means no need to say the vote.
We are not uploading. If you want us to vote, we will vote you now. But if you don't want us to vote you, no problem. We are not uploading. We are not uploading. We are not.
Right, there you have it. I think the saddest thing in that story is when the voter gave up and said it's not voting anymore.
It's not voting.
And
It's a sham.
Yes, these are the things we've been talking about. I'd like to get your thoughts on that, Mr. Daniel.
Thank you very much, my brother. This is one of the things we see in Nigerian politics and elections. My brother, this is, to me, this is the most important elections in the land. Because in Nigeria we have 3 tiers of government: the federal, state, and local government. And INEC is, charged with responsibility of conducting the federal election and the state elections, even down to the state assemblies. The young lady there, she's not just speaking from the point of view of just talking. Something prompted that, what she's telling us in the national TV, and I believe there are observers and international observers and local observers there. Of course, if she saying this and then there's nobody to call her to order, what do you talk about the same video that we see going around Lagos State since Friday, before the election today? One gentleman, or whatever they call him, MC Olomo, this is the same fellow who came out during the presidential election. He was saying the same thing. I don't know what is our problem in this country. And I asked myself, I told some people, I said, look, for there to be credible, fair, and, elections that people can adjudge and say this election is fair and is credible, there are 3 things we must get right. 1, the security. 2, INEC. 3, the politicians themselves. If INEC and the security agencies are ready to give us a credible election, free and fair election, we will have it in this country. But as it is now, we are taking stops as Nigerians. For me, it's a joke. It's a big joke, and the state election is not supposed to be a joke. Like I always tell people, I say the concentration of everybody in Nigeria is about federal. It's not all about federal. Now, if you take the fake allocations per, every quarter, divide it by 3. The federal government just have about maybe 35% or 20-something% of the total FAC sharing formula. but the rest go to the state and the local government council. That is where development is at the local level. If we get it right at the local level and at the state level, I tell you, nobody will migrate to Abuja. Nobody. Now look at the crowd in Lagos. People are crowded in Lagos. Lagos alone, if this new population comes out and we get the actual figure of Lagosians, we should be talking close to 23, 26 million people. Lagos alone can form three countries. 3 countries. You cover 3 countries from Lagos State. And why are people crowding in Lagos? It's because there are no development in other states. We need, as a people, to begin to hold the governors accountable. Now look at a young lady representing INEC who is supposed to be an empire. You see, it is not even the lady that I'm looking at. Look at what she said. She said, we are not going to upload. If you don't want to vote, you can go. We are not asking you to come and vote here. What does that signify? A clear-cut rigging. A clear-cut rigging with a mandate of how will I put it? Somebody is behind it. You cannot come out and be talking like that. And then the security agents, the commissioner of police, I watched him yesterday, of Lagos State, in the person of Ido, who is saying to Nigerians, we are investigating. A man came out to say the Igbos should leave if they are not going to beat APC. And you are saying you are investigating. What proof do you need more than the electronics media that have told us, shown the video, clear-cut video, telling us that the Igbos should leave? Who is more Nigerian than each other? Are the Igbos not Nigerians? So when we hear such statement, and the security agent looks the other way, I don't understand.
Do you actually think that the security agents are looking the other way? Because
where is he?
He actually,
they should arrest him and put him on the set. Let's say.
I hear him.
And let him be interrogated.
Because I hear him
because
say
it's not
that,
above the law.
I hear him say that there has been the same person, MC Romo, came up with another video saying that it was just a joke, and even brought the Mama Chukudi in question.
Oh my God. My dear sister, how do you verify that the same Mama Chukudi that he's talking about that is being presented to us? The woman herself should be investigated. And within the locality, if she has a son called Chukudi, these things are very simple. But the most important thing is that the damage has been done already. It's a psychological warfare. So do you think making the people realize that you don't need to come out?
Does that have anything to do with the
here? I saw on Channel Television when one of the reporters went to a particular unit and he said, this is a police unit where I was during the presidential election, and there was a ballot snatching and what have you. And the people were standing by, and he went to one guy and he said, sir, why are you not voting? Don't you have PFC? Yes, I have. So why don't you go? He said, I want to watch first because I don't know when this talk will come. He said, no, go. There are police everywhere. Go and vote. The guy said, there's no point going to vote. So what are you telling me? So
do you think that statement has anything to do with voter apathy? Completely. Especially in Lagos?
Completely. Completely. It's a clear-cut signal. If you hear somebody whom you know over time, his traces, his antecedent, his act, his characteristics, is an area boy character, an Agboro. That guy's an Agboro. A state actor questioning the authority of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Who says Yolomo? Abi Olomo, what do they call him? As far as I'm concerned, he's not a local government chairman. He is not a commissioner in Lagos State. How come that he will rush? Even if you are a local government chairman, you have no power. You have no authority whatsoever. Even the state governor, in the person of Sanwo-Olu, has no power to say to the people of Lagos or the Indigbos, even in Lagos State, that you can't come out on an election day. It's not possible.
Now let me ask you, before this election happened, yes, a few days to this election, we saw how the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has been here, there, everywhere. He has been a skit maker, he's been a mechanic, he's been a cook, he's been doing one thing or the other, yes, trying to carry votes from the electorate. Now, if you hear this same statement coming from someone in his party, saying that XYZ region should not go and vote if they're not going to vote for their party, is that not still shooting themselves right in the leg?
Completely. And that is why some of us, we are taking stock. Like I always say, and I've said it on this platform, I said, for some of us, we don't have dual citizenship. We have one country, and we belong to that country alone, which is Nigeria. And Nigeria, we are passionate about the project called Nigeria. In fact, give me anything he wants to give me to go and live in America or in the United Kingdom. Daniel will not go. I love Nigeria with passion. I love this country, and so many of us love this country with a passion. Even if at all we step out of this country, we step out for a visit and we'll come back, because this is our homeland. Green, flourishing country that is endowed with human capital, a lot of it, abundance of talent. Is it in the youth? Is it in our women? Abundance of talent. And we have been able to show that over time by exporting this talent to other parts of the world. We have the person of Ngozi Ukelewela heading the trade, the international trade center. You have the other lady that was in the SDP, former SDP here. She's in United Nations. A lot of them doing great things. What the governor have done, and his foot soldier in the person of Olomo, because I know that I was told, they said he's the chairman of PACS.
NERTW.
Yes, and the PACS, they all work with the state government. So, I would say they are shooting themselves on the leg, because the people, even though they are creating a kind of apathy, they are creating a kind of fear in the minds of the voters, Nigerians are voting, and I'm watching. We are watching. The people are coming out to vote. They are determined. Like one particular, as I was on my way to this studio, I saw a story that is being put out there in one particular polling unit. The gentleman said, let them come out. We are ready. We will fight. We will defend our vote. We are going to vote here. We will all die here.
What do you make of that response? Because prior to the elections, we saw that there were different things that people were saying on how they would, go out. We saw there was a post about someone teaching people how to make locally sourced pepper spray. We saw people, training their dogs, and they were going to carry their dogs to the polling unit. Interestingly, that was one of the things that the police actually replied to, that is not allowed according to the Electoral Act, although that's still up for debates amongst legal practitioners. So the question now is, let's take it back to NSAS and all of that. Anytime there's mention of protests, what we hear is, protest is not really the way. Take your grievances to the polling units and cast your votes. And and people, there's this analogy, I think it's an Eastern African proverb, where it says, if the thief urges you to go to the courts, it is because his brother is the judge. And I'm not to cast aspersions on anybody. The question now is, what can people do? What is left? Specifically in terms of security, because you just mentioned people saying they will fight, they will die here. Someone said the other day that he was advising others that don't fight any thug because they have nothing to lose, So if you go out there, you have prospects in life, you have plans, you have jobs, you have aspirations, and you fight a thug who has nothing to live for, you could lose your life. So the question is, what do we do if the means we try to take to protect ourselves and our votes could lead to us endangering our lives? What's next? And the question now is in terms of parties, parties will believe that it will happen to them. What should they be doing to help somehow with security?
Well, the unfortunate thing is you and I cannot provide our own self-security for ourselves as regards elections. We rely on the Nigerian police, which is the lead agency for security, and every other security apparatus of government. The only thing we can do is to mobilize and be vigilant, like they are doing in some of the polling units that I have watched. You can be vigilant. If you see anything, say something. Call the police. There are lines that people can call. Of course, it's unfortunate that we have not yet gotten it in this country, and we have not come to that place of maturity where the institution of security apparatus will be independent, solely independent, where they will not have executive influence as part how they do their jobs. If we can get to that level, like it is in the other countries, in other climes, like you have in America, if as I speak with you, Joe Biden is being investigated for what? For documents that have been found in his house when he was the vice president. That cannot happen here in Nigeria. But again, I will only urge citizens, the least we can do, be vigilant. All these politicians, none of their blood, none of their ambition is worth our blood. None. None. Because if you say all the rigging is going on and all the talk is going on, like she asked, he said, suddenly Baba Sowolu has become how will I put it now? An usher in the church. Suddenly he has become a baba. Suddenly he's putting himself there, now he's a footballer. Who is fooling who? But again, I don't even blame them. I blame the electorate themselves.
How so?
Because I heard now they are sharing lies in Kaduna. My brother, my sister, rice. My sister. In our local palace, we say it. If you are hungry and a man thinks he can fool you and mess your integrity because of you are hungry, and he's using food to entice you, to make you look foolish, say no to that food. Hunger will not kill you. That is integrity. That is the level we need to go to.
Have you actually grown?
But we have not gotten to that level. And that is why every year, every 4 years, they weaponize hunger. Now, they are everywhere. Like Baba Sowolu, I said it here on this platform before. I said they are everywhere now begging with plate in their hands for vote. 4 years ago, they don't care about the Nigerian masses. They don't care. When you vote them now, before you know it, once the ceremony is over, you never see them.
So what exactly changed 4 years ago and now? Because we've seen that some people did not even campaign. They didn't even print ballot campaign posters.
And that is why
they're there.
And that is why he's now a baba. He's now an usher. A governor. Overnight, you have become an usher in the church. Just because you want election. You want to win election. You and I know that you have been following his presidential candidate in the person of the president-elect, as he was all over the place, not knowing that he needs to also campaign for himself. Some of us who have been watching will say, what is this man doing? From the primaries to the election proper, he was everywhere. Anywhere you see the president-elect, you see someone. Then I said to myself, is this man not going to campaign in Lagos State? Has he secured Lagos? Is he telling us that Lagos is in his kitty? And that is what we are talking about.
Do you think that that win for that Labour Party actually won Lagos? Is that the reason why we see this change all of a sudden?
No. What Labour Party, right? Won Lagos State. Yes, that's what the result they declared to us.
That's what I'm saying. Is that the reason why this sudden wake up came?
I don't think so. I don't think so. The sudden wake up is as a result of him seeing the handwriting on the wall that if I don't get to do what I need to do, relying on the president-elect structure, I might not get Lagos State. Because if you look at the contestation in Lagos now, it's not between 2 political parties alone. There are 4 political parties that are involved. But there are 3 major ones. The APC, which he belongs, then we have the Labour Party, and then the PDP. The man in the PDP, emanated from APC, is, in fact, we are told, is one of the foot soldiers of what? Of APC. Then he moved to PDP. No, he's pulling weight in the state. The other one is Labour. Of course, given the build-up from the presidential election, which Labour won in clean sweep, the Labour Party candidate is leveraging on that. And some of you have seen the handwriting clearly because of the agitations of Lagosians. Then we have had enough. And that is what the candidates are telling us. That Lagos State is too big to be in the pocket of one person, deciding all that will happen in Lagos. And sometimes we listen, we hear people say, Lagos is built by this man. I say, can one man build a city? It's not possible. Over time, we watch how Lagos, from independence era, we have had, various governors in the person of Jakonde. Latif Jakonde contributed a lot. I was a young man on the street of Lagos. I saw how, Latif Jakonde built estates all over Lagos. You can't take it away from such a man. In the era of Tinubu, what did he do? And they're telling us that he has his footprint is everywhere. When him and Obasanjo were quarreling and his allocation was 6 for 8 years, how do you develop a state? And they said he has a master plan. Where is the federal capital of Nigeria before now? It was in Lagos. All the bridges you see in Lagos, Kappa Bridge, Mainland Bridge, they are all built by the military era. In the days of General Gowon, the days of General Gowon, down to even when we had Buhari, what's his name now? Buhari, General IBB, General Badamasi, Babangida, military administrator, I mean, the military head of state, that is in the person of IBB. So tell me, suddenly, the governor have realized that, I don't need to travel on this part. If I travel on this part, the ticket of APC will not be guaranteed. All of a sudden, we saw him, he has become a barber. He's doing Oshana and dancing Awilo Makomba in the church.
But doing those things...
And even playing drums. We saw him playing drums.
But doing those things, doesn't it imply that there was going to be a free and fair election? Because it seems that at the end of the day, with the massive amount of voter suppression we're seeing, was it ever really going to be the case where those actions would get in votes?
I'll tell you something. This happened 2002, 2003. A neighbor of mine who works with the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, she was in my house and we were talking. She's one of these news person, and then suddenly she received a call and she said, I must leave. I said, you just got here. Where are you going? She said, I'm going to the studio. I said, why? Then before I go there, let me even place a call. And she now said, the program being aired have just been called out. Who put that program on air? That she need to put it down. And I said, wow. So is that how this thing works? She said, yes. See, whatever we do and whatever we put out there, it's not controlled by us. And if it's not pleasant to the government of the day, it will be pulled down. See, my brother, we all saw the abracadabra that happens during the presidential elections, and some of us cannot be deceived. There are strategic thinkers who don't do things in the right way. They know what to do, but they do it in a way that it suits them because, like they said, politics is interest. And of course, they will make you believe as if they are putting out their best out there. They are doing all they can to make sure they let the people realize that they have done their needful and they are securing the election. So we cannot be deceived. No Nigerian should be deceived.
Now let's talk, we'll definitely talk more about the presidential elections and all that happened. We take highlights from the presidential elections, but let's still go back to Lagos State.
Yes.
With all of these arguments, people saying that Lagos is a no man's land, and other people saying that Lagos is somebody's land, and then some other person said, go back to days, history, then let's take it back to those days. Where do you stand in all of this argument?
My stand is very clear, and I stand with the Nigerian people. Before now, we have had agitations from, I think the agitations of Biafra have landed Kanu where he is today. Well, of course, the case is still in court. Is it not so? So, my dear, Lagos, as it has been said, is the commercial nerve center of Nigeria. Of course, we all build Lagos together, and nobody is more Lagosians than the people living in Lagos. The Igbos have been there over the 60s and the 50s. Of course. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And you cannot take commerce from the Igbos. So you have the Benins there. You have the Igalas. You have the Ijos. All manners of tribes, all manner are living in Lagos.
So it's actually wrong to say that Lagos is a Yoruba man's land.
It is not even a Yoruba man's land. If you talk about Lagos State, they call Lagosians themselves, they are the Oguns. Those of them lives in Badagry, they migrated, and some of them lives in Lagos Island. And those of them that live in Lagos Island, they also have an affiliation to Brazil. That is why you have this carnival that they do every year in Lagos Island that shows a kind of a Brazilian kind of carnival. Then you have the people that lives in what they call them, Ikorodu. Then those that lives in the Aziz. Now, as I speak with you, I can tell you authoritatively, I know some persons that are working in Lagos State Civil Service that are not of Lagos indigenes. They are from Ogun State. Some of them are from Ogun State. Some of them are from Ekiti. Some of them are from what they call it, Oyo State. They live in Lagos. Nobody raise eyebrow because once you speak Yoruba, you know, there are various dialects in Yoruba. The Ekiti man, when he's talking, you know that this is Ekiti man speaking. If you see Ogun man talking, you know this is an Ogun man talking. Are you with me now? The Lagosians, if they are speaking their own kind of Yoruba, you will know that this is a Lagosian. I shock you today. I look like an Igbo man. Today I dress and I look like Hausa. But I tell you, nobody in this country is more Nigerian than myself. My mother is from Lagos Island. And my father is from Benue. So tell me. And I have Igbo friends, I have Hausa friends. We all live in Lagos. We all grow up in Lagos. We school in Lagos. It is when the politicians, they want to do these their dubious things, they bring about all manners of sentiment and ethnicity and what have you. There are Igbos who have lived in Lagos for over 30 years. They don't even know the road to their states. I'm telling you the truth. There are Igbos that are married to Yoruba, there are Yorubas that are married to Igbo. It's when these politicians, they want to divide us and cause confusion, they will come up with all manners of ethnicity and jingles and religiosity.
All right,
no, we should not fall for that.
And those
who are benefiting from those calls, they are the ones making us like NCLMO.
All right, Mr. Obajo, just a moment. We'll take a quick break now so we can take a look at some centers where collation has already begun and reading out of results. When we return, the program continues. Just stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. In case you just tuned in, this is still the live telecast of the governorship and House of Assembly elections. And like I told you before, the governorship elections is ongoing at the moment in 28 states. So we have our correspondent there in Ward 10, polling unit 6 in Ogun State. That's precisely the former House of Assembly Speaker, that's Dimeji Bankole's ward. She would be giving us sights and sound on what exactly is going on in her polling unit. Hello, Jumoke. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Good afternoon, Jumoke.
Yeah, so currently I'm at, just like you have rightly said, I'm at Dimeji Bankole's polling unit, and counting has commenced. However, we are not allowed to film with our camera. In fact, the clip I sent on the platform that you maybe it's already being displayed right now was recorded discreetly with my phone.
Oh, really?
So there are political talks, yes, there are political talks around here. As I'm speaking to you, I'm just in a corner trying to bring my voice down so nobody hears me. So basically, there are political talks around here who did not allow journalists to record any of the election process. In fact, we got here in a rush because we got a news that ballot boxes were snatched. However, when we got here, it has been resolved because we also met the presence of Dimeji Bankole himself, who is also trying to ensure that, the situation is put under control. So right now, as we speak, we are currently counting the governorship election right about now. So we are only waiting to see the results. However, the political stocks have been, the security operators have been here. I guess maybe there was an emergency news or emergency information that was given to them to quickly come here. So now they are ensuring that the situation is at the barest minimum to ensure that at least there are no casualties. In fact, we the female journalists have been told to leave the premises. So that's
why exactly is that?
Yes, because if there has to be a case of you have to run. The guys are a lot stronger than the females, so probably that's why we, the female journalists from other media stations, are supposed to not move far from the polling unit itself, just so in case, because by the time they are going to announce the result of the polling unit declaring who won, the governorship candidate who won this particular polling unit, it might lead to rancor, judging from the fact that I don't know if you can hear somebody already saying Mafoglas Mweluri that is going to please maybe she come later.
Oh wow.
All right.
I hope you just stay safe, Jumoke, so we can call you back later to find out what exactly is going on. What do you smell something fishy around there, especially coming from that ward, Dimeji Bankole's ward?
And if you notice, that wasn't how that was meant to go. She had to, quickly run. She also reported, she was the one who reported earlier that they had to flee for lives and to avoid destruction of equipment and all that. So,
cameras.
What do you make of this? That's Ogun State, by the way.
Not even Lagos.
Not even Lagos, Ogun State. Is worrisome. And I don't know how we got here. Some of us believe, and of course, the international community is looking up to Nigeria to show leadership in the African continent. But over time, the opportunity is given to us to show leadership in African continent. We are ourselves, we are our own selves problem. Imagine an election period is supposed to be an exciting period. An exciting period where Nigerians, with their free will mandate, that are supposed to go to the polling units, cast their votes, protect their vote, and being protected by the security agencies. Look at the report we are getting. Female journalists reporting on this station, saying that all the female journalists were asked to go somewhere for security purposes because of thugs. I ask myself, is it the same Nigerian police that went to Hungary is a country, or Yugoslavia. I can go on and on. So many countries that they've gone and they have done, they came out, gallantry. They do exploit. The same Nigerian police. And that's why some of us said, the issues of the pocket of insecurity here and there, it is not because of our politicians that are not being fair to Nigerians. The Nigerian armed forces, particularly the army, they are the most strongest force in the continent of Africa. The fear of the Nigerian military is the beginning of wisdom for other African countries. While growing up, my brother, there were crises in Liberia. Nigerian army were drafted there. Then one of the Nigerian commander became the chief of army staff of Liberia. And we are being told the Liberians were begging at the end of even the rebels. ECOWAS, ECOMO country, please move Nigerian soldiers away. Because these guys are fearless. When they come at you, you know that they're here. And we are proud that this is Nigerians. These are great Nigerians doing great things in the continent of Africa. Then you talk about the issues of the civil war in Syria alone. Of course. Nigerian army went in there, they did exploit. Why can't they solve the little problem we have there? But you hear all manners of grammar. Look at in Ogun State, right? Ogun State, neighboring state to Lagos. How can this thing be happening in 21st century? How can?
It is really worrisome. Before we go ahead, our phone lines are open now. You can call in to make a contribution. So tell us exactly what is happening or what happened in your polling unit. Give us your own situation report. Go ahead, please.
All right, Mr. Abaja, I'd like to point out something and your thoughts on it. Just about yesterday, I thought, day before yesterday. Oh, that was yesterday, about last night or so, or in the afternoon. It was officially announced that the President Muhammadu Buhari, had signed into law some amendments to the Constitution. It went a little bit under the radar due to the election things, but there were a lot of, what I call it, huge amendments there. Now, states are allowed to generate, distribute, source for their own electricity.
Perfect.
Correctional centers
are supposed to build and run by states.
Yes, they are now
beautiful. Those were formerly on concurrent route.
Yes, they have been moved now. During the executive, not to concurrent.
Yes.
Now we have
executive to concurrent.
Yes.
Yes.
Now we have. There's also an amendment where an elected official has, I think, about a month to bring out his cabinet. We are not going to be having the thing where 6 months goes by and you don't have a cabinet yet. These are some of the issues. Now, ideally, these are great amendments that a lot of people have applauded. Exactly. So the question now is, the election, this is the first major election cycle in the era of Beavers, Electoral Act, and so on. And the Electoral Act was massively celebrated.
Massive.
It was believed that it's a new era.
It's a turning point.
You know, but when you want to play side by side the rating of the way this election has held, even some elections that have held outside of the Electoral Act seem to have been conducted better, so to speak.
Yeah.
So the question is, you know, what's the problem here? If we have it down pat, is in the law, what's now the issue? You know, why is it that all the excitement and the hope that we had is seemingly not, it seems to have been dampened now that we've seen an actual general election hold under this cycle?
I don't even know which one to take first. I think I will start with the law that you said, Mr. President, just signed to law. Pardon me, some of us, we have not had light now for like how many days? If you don't have your generator running, there can't be light for you to see news. Well, some of what we do, we rely on what we hear and receive on social media. That is a welcome development, and that is the way to go. We can't continue to concentrate powers in the center alone, particularly in the area of power generation. We need to break it down, even if it has to be that the local government council has to be involved to generate electricity and then distribute to their localities, and people will pay for it. Why not? There's this monopoly that is creating the agitations and control. It's about command and control.
The point now is, do you think it will work?
It will work.
The reason
it has been signed.
The reason I started
it has been signed. Yes, it has been signed.
Was also signed.
It has been signed to law. It has been signed. It will work.
All right.
If the governors will go to court and challenge it,
please hold your thought. Let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning. Good evening. Yes, I'm already used to mornings. Good evening. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Ayuba Johanna calling from Nasarawa State.
Ayuba from Nasarawa State. Tell us, what is going on in Nasarawa this evening?
Yes, there's one polling in College of Agri. They are complaining of bringing the fake ballot paper. That is what people are complaining. And the INEC officials, they are talking about the original one. So there is a little bit confusion here.
I'm sorry, okay.
Hello?
Please go ahead, we can hear you.
Yes. So my answer is that they should be bringing original ballot paper. That is what I'm complaining now. That is my point now.
All right. Thank you so much.
In a situation whereby you will come to vote for your choice, they will be bringing another different thing there. That is what people are complaining.
All right, thank you so much, Ayuba, calling us from Nasarawa State. Okay, please go ahead.
The beauty of it is that it's not the one to implement it now. The new administration coming in, we have to implement that law. Are you with me now? And I know that some of the governors over time, they have been agitating for this. That if we can break down power to a level whereby the state can generate the power, their power and transmit within the state, of course, if they are even going to join it to the national grid, it will still be available for everybody to use. Then you talk about, remind me the second one you talk about, the other one is signed to law?
Correctional centers.
Oh, correctional centers, beautiful. You see the issues of awaiting trials all over the place. Some correctional centers, even if Kuje prison here, go there and see for yourself. Some correctional centers, the awaiting trials are more than the ones that have been, sentenced to either life imprisonment or maybe death. And that is not a good thing, because these people, you are not guilty until it is said by the law court or maybe by the judge that you are guilty. And these people, some of them, even if by the time they review the amount of days they have spent in the center, is more than the sentence they will get. So this is a welcome development, and we want the state to leverage on that and see how they can discongest the prison and then build more facilities. In fact, it's supposed to, like now the name is being corrected in Nigeria. It was formerly Nigerian Prison Service. Now it's Nigerian Correctional Centers. Yes, it's a correctional facility where people who are done ill against the society will go and cool off and then maybe have their brain amended and then thought about some skills and whatever that will make them to be productive before you inject them into the society. That is by the way. Then you talk about the issue of remind me the
time limit for your cabinet. I think
yes, that is another good one. You are aware during this administration when they come on board on 2015, we were all excited, we are happy. Baba even told us at the Eagle Square that I'm for nobody, I am for everybody. And then when he became, he got to a villa, it took him about 6 months before he could, formulate his cabinet. And 1 month in the lifespan of every administration, even the lifespan of a human being, is a lot. And we wasted the whole of that 6 months without no cabinet, nothing. So it's a welcome development. I think he's getting this out of his own examination. There's nothing like self-examinations. Yes, there are areas we have not fed well. That is the area of electricity. Nigeria today, I think we are not even generating up to 3,000 megawatts, or maybe above 3,000 or thereabout. But if Mr. President can say for himself, before I leave office, let me sign this law so that the state can be able to contribute and also generate their own power, then it's self-examination that is going on. Then if he said, okay, the state can build facilities, self-examination is going on. Then if he said, okay, thermal, every administration that come on board, either states or federal, that you have about a month to put up your administration, then we are going somewhere.
All right.
It's a good development.
All right, let's take this call. Hello, good evening. Okay, I think we lost that call. All right, like I was actually going to ask if you think that he is just with all that happened during his administration, that's why he decided to, he has seen probably maybe I'm trying to manage my word. I don't want to use the word regret, saying that now he's mandating the president-elect to ensure that he appoints his cabinet in 60 days, because he has seen that with all that happened during his administration, that there was a fault there. Do you accept that? Probably was it a regret or something?
No, I will not even tag it to be regret, but over time, people have called and agitated for true federalism, that the Nigerian state, the powers and all activities are concentrated at the center, and which is supposed not to be. Now he has done that of electricity. He has done that of correctional center. He has done that of cabinet formulations. We want him to also tinker with that of Nigerian police.
All right.
The state police at this time is necessary, no matter however people will, argue. I said the state.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello, are you there? All right, please land on your thoughts before we take the next one.
There have been this clamor for state police, and some people will speak for and some against. They say if they do that, the governors will hijack the structures and whatever. But again, I tell people, I say no. If you have our traditional institutions within the states, you have elder statesmen and some, associates, and you make them a board of the state council of a local government, of a state, it will be difficult for the governor to have a overriding force over such a board. The board decides the promotion of the commissioner. The board decides the promotions of the senior officers, while the commissioner of the state will now decide the promotion of the constables. If you do it in that way, structure in that way, you can even bring the board member from this religious cycle within the state. So let the combinations of these boards are people with proven integrity, from religious body, from associates groups, from civil society, and then traditional rulers of the state as board members of the police councils within the state, just like we have it at the federal level. And you will have a formidable team that will do the job without necessarily going to the governor for appointment of the commissioner of police.
What are your parameters or yardstick for measuring people with good characters? Because sometimes we've actually called people the super cop, the most intelligent one amongst all, but then you still see them throw their fists right at Nigerians' faces.
Correct. Where you see, it is because of the society we have become. There are still people of morals in this society. And one of them, the late Professor Dora Akunyele of blessed memory. You heard her story. She was in PTF, and she was given allowance to travel for a seminar outside the country.
All right, we'll continue with that. Let's quickly take this call. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. My name is Ikechu.
Ikechu, where are you calling us from?
Especially, it's really peaceful.
Okay.
I just want to contribute to what the gentleman there is saying about state police.
Okay.
See, none of us have ever tested physics, but because of the junior brother of physics, which happens to be fatty, when we hear the smell, we know that physics will not be good. You see, look at the state electoral commission that is in the hand of the governors. How have they handled it? They have used it. You see, a state that has 30 local government and everything. When it comes to election, the party there, whether they perform well or not, they will win everything. They will win the local government chairman, they will win all the old councillors. You see, so if you do anything like state police, we are not ripe yet. It is a good thing, but we are not ripe yet. There are so many things that must be put in place before we can talk about state police. If you try such things in Nigeria, I tell you, you will regret. So many things will happen. Look at even the local vigilantes, how the governors have been using it to intimidate others. I think that is my contribution.
Thank you so much, Ikechukwu from Agbo. Your point is well taken. Hello, good evening. Hello, anybody home?
Good evening.
Good evening, we can hear you. Please, you need to speak up.
All right.
Okay, I think I have to leave that one and take the next call. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Tell us your name or where you're calling us from.
Good evening.
I'm Ahmed calling from Kaduna.
Ahmed from Kaduna, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yes, I'm in line with the last speaker. Because even our election. Hello?
Go ahead.
Even our last election that was held in February. Some of the governors lost out because they could not tinker with the figures. Assuming during the 7th and 8th assembly, where it was manually done, none of those governors would have lost their election. They would have been elected overwhelmingly. So in this part of the world, I think if governor is given a position to control the state police, I think the rest of us will not feel secure. I do not agree with your case. Capital no to state police for now.
All right.
Forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Very well taken. All right. Hello, good evening. Good evening. Hello, anybody home? Okay, let this go and take the next one. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good evening. Tell us your name or where you're calling us from.
Good afternoon. This is Akim calling from Lagos.
Good to hear from you again. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, situation around in Lagos, anyway, within the area where I am, everything seems to be okay anyway.
Okay.
My area. I can't see of other places. So then, my contribution to what we are discussing about the recent signing by Mr. President of the new law in terms of electricity generation and other things. I think it's a good development because this will set a kind of a competition which is very, very good because this thing has been drawing us back for quite a long time, okay? But I would like extension, though not to police, but extension into resource control as well. You understand? Because even the northern part of this country, they are so rich, only probably maybe they don't discover it. So if there is this extension of resource control even across, that also will help. Then also, I have a question I want to ask to you, Canada, or the young man there, or the analyst himself. Now we have done, I've done my own voting. I have done the election today. Now we are agitating for transmitting the vote from the voting polling unit direct to the server, right? So that we can see it from the IRF. So the question I want to ask you is this: what happens if at the polling unit, so you know how Nigeria are, if this election is manipulated, considering the accreditation, okay, let's say assume maybe 300 people are accredited, and in that form, 600 is filled as a particular voter, a particular party wins the election, and this thing is transmitted directly from several polling units across the state. What happens? At the end of the day, when all these things is collected, while we are at home, we are celebrating party A as one, then later on, we realize that there will be cancellation, because definitely if it is transmitted directly without checkmating it from any particular place, there will be a crisis. One, either crisis on the street or crisis in the court. So I want someone to tell me how to avoid this kind of situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kim.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for that contribution. Thank you for always calling. All right, I think would you actually finish up with Professor Dora Akunyili before we talk about his question?
Yes, you asked about how do we identify people of credibility and values that can be given such a tax. There are so many Nigerians that we can still rely on and said yes, when you call them to to handle a particular assignment, they will do it well. Of course, the society we live in today, a lot of clamor, a lot of interest, a lot of politicking going on here and there, and people are of course fighting for regional blocks. The story had it that she didn't go for the program and she turned up the fund that was given to her, and her heads of department was like, wow, this has never happened. And Kane, I believe that was one of the criteria that led to her being appointed as the DG NAFDAC. And of course, you and I know, not until she was appointed DG NAFDAC, we never knew that there were, so much fake drugs within our society. Not only fake drugs, fake food consumptions. People were doing cokes and other drinks within their domain without us knowing.
Water.
And everybody were consuming, we were consuming sicknesses all over the place, Then, of course, the issue of the guy that talked of the good gentleman, they are entitled to their opinion. That is my opinion. But again, look, something happened in Boston, United States of America, when they have the Boston Marathon. 2 young men, shot into the air, and some persons were injured. The state police of Boston went into investigation and they locked down the city. Nobody goes out, nobody comes in. And they were with our teeth. Obama was on his way somewhere, and Obama said, no, I can't travel out of the country where my country is on fire. He flew from Washington, D.C. straight to Boston. Before his arrival, the FBI, which are the federal police, they arrived before him, and they got there, and they said, Commissioner, give us the situation report, and he did, and he said, okay, the FBI are taking it over from here. What am I trying to say? By the time you constitute a board within the state level, these boards, they live with people within the state, and they are respectable gentlemen and ladies. Then you have the federal police, or again, overseeing the activities of all these police. You see, it's about building competition. If you find out that your state is doing well in terms of security, in terms of power, in terms of mineral resources, in terms of development, the other state want to copy from it.
If we have to take the example of what happened during
we must create that competitions within the state.
Sorry, I have to cut in there. If you're talking about competition, if you have to look at what happened during the Abuja Kaduna train attack, and then just oppose it with what happened with the Edo train attack. You saw how long the Abuja Kaduna train attack lasted, how long the victims were right there at their doctor's net. Now bring it back to Edo train attack. It took days, few days, and all of them were reunited with their families. Now if you have to talk about competition, let's use that as an example.
You can't even compare the two. Abuja Kaduna train is the same train being run by Nigerian Railway Corporation, isn't it? But the investigation that was carried out within those states, you know the numbers of persons that were invited by the police. Even the custodians of the traditional, institution of that locality was invited by the police. And he said, no problem. They went into findings, and before you know it, they knew exactly where these things were coming from, and the people were ramped up.
So that's what I'm saying. That's a different thing.
It's within the state. It's within the state. But this one is Kaduna stroke Abuja, and it's fall within the purview of the federal government. What do we get upon all the military? And of course,
are you saying that the federal government is being complacent more than the state government?
No. I am not saying that. What I'm saying to you is, they came out and they told us, I think that was the last report before the people were being released. They said, where they kept them, they know where they are. But for them to go in there and carry out a rescue operations, that they don't want collateral damage, that is why they are lobbying them to see how they can bring out these people. That is why I believe it took a longer time.
All right, Mr. Abaji, just for the sake of time, so that we can quickly get some things done. Can we quickly respond to the question the
Mr. Kim from...
Yes, he says, how do we handle the issue where votes might turn into something else if it's not transmitted?
How do we handle that of presidential? You and I cannot do anything from this end. The duty and the onus lies on INEC and the political parties. If in an event that you vote and your vote is not counted, it is the duty of it's not even the duty of the electorate to fight it. It is the duty of the political party with their agent, because of course that's why they have an agent there. So it's on the basis of the report from their agent, collected at the collection center, that they will have to rely on to go to the appropriate quarter. What is the appropriate quarter? Like the Labour Party and the PDP are doing right now on the presidential election. They are in court.
All right. I think to add to that, I think you asked the three of us. I would say that we also saw reports of electorate and voters demanding that the votes be transmitted. Some persons even brought the things that INEC said they did not have. Take, for instance, we're hearing some officers saying they don't have network there. They will have network at the ward level. I think a lot of Nigerians have phones who have hotspots that you can give to these persons for them to do. And also, there's the issue of where you can upload, and even if it doesn't go, the moment there is network, it will go. And that you can at least demand that. Let them upload manually, so that even if they don't have network at the time, or they don't trust that of voters, whenever they do get network, perhaps when they get to where they are, it will send. But ideally, it should be able to work at the polling unit, and if it doesn't, that's the fault of INEC.
Correct.
So in the meanwhile, while we try to get our reporter back on the line, I think she's available to speak now. Let's still speak on the conduct we are seeing so far. So what do you make of, what do you think the voter apathy we are seeing really favors at the end of the day? When less people come out, who wins?
We can't announce or say anything now until INEC do the needful, because INEC is the sole empire here.
All right, I think we already have Jumoke back online with us. Hello, Jumoke. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here now. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please go ahead. Let's know what exactly is happening right there.
Okay, right now, we are still trying to count the votes. They are done with the House of Assembly counting. They are now counting for the governorship election. However, there was a delay because, like I said earlier, we had a massive disruption, from the political talks here. So it took a while before the security operators were able to resolve the issue. So right now, they are counting the governorship election results. So you're just waiting for the announcement of the final winner for this particular polling unit. At Ward 10, polling unit 6, Ebunto, which is the polling unit of the former House of Representatives Speaker, Dimitri Bankole.
Okay. So is there stability now? Have they been able to restore? Have they been able to restore peace?
We have NSCDC and 2 policemen right here, as I speak to you.
All right.
Have there been any arrests?
All right. Ajumara, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, I think one of your earlier locations, that there was disruption by some thugs and you had to flee the place. What happened? And I think you sent some pictures of someone in custody. Tell us more about that.
Have there been any arrests?
Yes, you mean the ballot boxes that were snatched earlier?
Yes.
Okay, yes, the ballot boxes were snatched and the policemen couldn't even, take control of the situation. In fact, it was NSCDC security operatives that were here. Remember, I don't know if you're able to check some of the clips we sent earlier from several local governments and polling units. There were several polling units that had no security operatives, and they had massive turnout of voters. So it was really difficult for the INEC ad hoc staff to control the crowd. I mean, human beings will always be human beings. So when the issue of ballot snatching came about, everybody just, in fact, we journalists, we have to run for our lives. There were a series of gunshots, and we just had to ensure that we are safe because of the equipment that are with us. And then we also noticed that we have some particular, I don't want to mention names now, we have some particular politicians that are present at this polling unit where we have disruptions. And while I was trying to interview them to, get, some facts about why this is their polling unit, they are present there, and then there are still, threats from thugs to voters. They just keep dodging the questions. I don't know. And then so we were able to get information that even some politicians ensure that they position this stuff at these several polling units just because they want to ensure that they win the election.
So all of this,
it's difficult trying to get them talking.
So in all of this, were there any arrests made?
No, there hasn't been any arrest made at this polling unit. However, they were able to arrest 2 people at the Shagamu local government area, where the chief press secretary of Governor Dr. Abadu here stated that they caught them trying to vote forcefully because there were no security operators. So they caught them trying to vote forcefully without having PVCs. So those ones were arrested. So they are about, I think I sent the pictures. have about 2 men that were arrested.
All right, just one question.
Yeah, however, in the morning, the NNPP governorship candidate here in Ogun State, Ajadi Olufemi, also condemned, the series of attacks because we were right behind this man while he was driving, and he literally dodged gunshots because the folks were trying to drag the guns that are with the security operatives. Wow. So I think he was able to, we just sort of like look for a shortcut to ensure that we are safe. So he could not even vote at his particular polling unit.
Oh, wow.
We had to run. I mean, our driver who was also driving behind him, we had to run to another polling unit that seemed safer so that we could that was how we were able to even have an interview with him. So he was really angry, about that, because on the ballot paper there is the NNPP logo, but there was no name ascribed. And we have about 18 political parties with names and logos, so that when counting commences, the way they are counting ADC1, PDP2, they would also be able to count, NNPP this number, NNPP that number. But unfortunately, the logo is the only thing on the ballot paper. There is no name.
No acronym. All right.
So he also, okay.
Go ahead before I continue.
Okay, so he also mentioned that they noticed this error on time, even before the election, and then they ensured that they made an official statement. They wrote a letter to INEC Ogun State that, okay, this is the issue, and we need you to rectify this before the election day. They waited for the reply, and they got no reply, thinking that, okay, maybe it has been rectified. And only to the surprise today, the error wasn't rectified, and there was no name on the ballot paper. It was just the logo, and even party agents do not have enough tags to monitor the election, because there's no way, just like a voter cannot vote without accreditation, even party agents cannot monitor the elections without being accredited. So they did not have enough party agent tags to even monitor the election as NNPP observers.
All right, so thank you so much. What you're saying is actually what we've been hearing from the party for a while now. But I just want to confirm something. I think one of the clips you sent earlier was of the Ogun State Commissioner of Police, Frank Mba. Yes. And in that video you sent, he says that he asked, he was very clear, and he found out, and he asked, and they told him no ballot box snatching happened. Do you know if he has changed that stance now, considering the things you are telling us? What's going on?
However, if you're in a position of authority, you would, by all means, try to not escalate the issue. So I remember him saying vividly that everything going on, I mean, the ballot snatching, the violence, he said it in his own word, that it is like the Nigerian style of democracy, in his own words. So that obviously shows us that there is little, I mean, they cannot entirely control the situation, even as security operatives. As we know, Frank Mba, he has worked in several states, and then he has credible profile to his name in the office. So he's from what I have seen, since when he has been transferred to Ogun State, we have had massive meetings, massive seminars. He had ensured that he trained the security operatives. I mean, I covered so many of his reports here since they have been in Ogun State, just, in efforts to ensure that we do not have issues like this. However, he was able to also tell us that, obviously, this is the style of, democracy here in Nigeria. People will always be people, politicians, even because we were there when he made a press conference to one politician to desist from the act of using these forms, to disrupt elections. But however, we still see these politicians right here at different polling units, and they could not even sort of control the situation. I was there, my partner was also there, another correspondent for KAFTAN TV Yoruba. He's a guy, so he was at the front and was able to see a gun, at the pocket area of a thug. And a politician was there, someone that was just elected as a member of the House of Assembly last presidential election. So you can imagine if, the commissioner of police is saying that everything going on is the Nigerian style of democracy. So honestly,
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Stay safe.
Thank you so much, Jumoke. Please stay safe, and that's all we can wish you at the moment. Now, with all that you have heard, before we let you go, we already understand that so many things happen during the presidential elections, and tensions are still high up there. But then, we're still looking up to INEC redeeming their name again. Now, with this election, you have Akeem asking the question, saying that we're expecting electronic transmission of results, and then we saw that the court even accepted that the INEC should show that they transmit results electronically. Now, INEC trying to redeem their name and their face, do you actually see that going to happen even as this election is on the way?
I'm sorry to disappoint you Nigerians out there. It is not going to happen. Some of us have lost faith in this INEC. And we don't believe they can redeem their image. Never. And not with this crop of politicians. You see the response coming in. Of course, you are talking about INEC alone. It's not only the INEC alone, but also the politicians in Nigeria. If you are going in there with a passion in your heart to go and get the job done, you don't need to snatch or boxes or maybe hire talks. And I said to myself, even the police are also complicit in this. If you make an example of one politician, no politician will. See, talks are hired. Somebody hired them. Why can't you investigate these talks to a point of knowing who hired them? And then make an example of them. Are you with me now? When that begins to happen, then we know that people will begin to do the right thing. Right now, this particular INEC, and of course, the politicians, working in hand with, I was on air with somebody, and he told me of what happened in the presidential election in Canada. That an honorable member had to participate in that act. So, my dear sister, what are we talking about?
All right.
Not until Nigerian police and the security apparatus and INEC and the political elite decide to give us a credible elections, we will not have it in this country. But as it stands now, the 28 states of the Federation, of course maybe one or two states that have had their elections like Anambra, Oshu and Ekiti, that are not in these elections. The rest, we only pray that Nigerians should take it easy. Expecting the best result from this election is not going to happen. INEC cannot redeem themselves, neither the security apparatus. You see what they are doing. Police have become stooges of politicians. INECs are working for politicians. Politicians are the one controlling all the structures on ground. So what do you expect of them? They say he who paid the piper detect the tool, so they pay them and they are detecting what will happen. When a policeman will be in a polling unit, somebody is giving warning. You can't vote here. If you come here to vote a particular party, we will deal with you. Go home.
All right.
Thank you so much, Daniel Obaje, Policy Public Affairs Analyst. It's been a wonderful time having this discussion with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right, viewers, that's where we end for this segment. We'll definitely continue as we take a break, and then we'll bring you some more reports coming, situation report coming from different polling units. And when we come back, you'll definitely see new faces. It is still the live broadcast of the governorship elections and the House of Assembly elections. My name is Annabelle Oji. Good evening.
And I am Amadino Bewe, and I'd like to end on a lighter note. I know things seem dire and they seem a bit bleak at the moment, but it's important you know that the more you come out, the more you participate, the less these things can happen. Brazil has about similar population, perhaps lesser than Nigeria, and when you take a look at the numbers of persons who actually elect presidents, it's astronomically much more higher than it is here. I don't think less than 10% of Nigerians actually get to decide who ends up ruling us. Increased participation in all realms, in all ramifications, will eventually lead to obsolete systems of thuggery and violence, where it will not matter how many are there. If you think about it, at the end of the day, there are not as many as you are, the people who actually want Nigeria to work. So I'll encourage that you do go out and vote, but it's already late for that now at the moment. But I know that there have been postponements of some elections, so that moment will come again and you have the chance once more. There are still off-season elections. Do well to participate. And in the period where INEC says get your PVCs, do get your PVCs. This and many more will do, and we can help ourselves to get the nation that we want and deserve. Have a nice day. The telecast shall return shortly. Stay with us. We'll be back. I'm Amadine Mbawe. Bye for now.